Good afternoon, dear friends. This is Natalia with you on the Doctor Online channel, where I share my personal experience and answer your questions. Health. These days, having a healthy gut is more of a luxury than a common thing. We often destroy beneficial microflora by taking antibiotics uncontrollably, and sometimes even without a real need. In some cases, even using them for preventive purposes. Besides antibiotics, there is a whole list of other medications that can negatively affect our gut and promote the growth of pathogenic microflora. These are, first of all, hormones, laxatives, antidepressants, and a whole range of other medications. A major role in the development of dysbacteriosis is played by improper nutrition and, first and foremost, the consumption of foods containing aggressive chemical additives. And nowadays there are an enormous number of them. The countless notorious E numbers are too many to count. The intestinal microflora is constantly under threat from various types of hormonal imbalances in the body. It responds sensitively to any metabolic disorders, weakened immunity, and surgical interventions on the organs of the gastrointestinal tract. Yes, to many other things as well. In other words, dysbacteriosis is a problem that each of us faces at some point in life. Naturally, the question arises, do we even need to do anything about it? Perhaps I'll put the question differently. What can happen to us if we don't treat dysbacteriosis? This can lead to various allergic reactions, primarily skin rashes, the development of intestinal inflammation up to ulceration, as well as anemia and vitamin deficiencies. And in more serious cases, with prolonged dysbacteriosis, intestinal tumors and blood infections with the development of septic processes can occur. By following certain guidelines, each of us has a chance to deal with the problem of dysbacteriosis at home using traditional medicine remedies. Let me clarify right away. Treating dysbacteriosis with traditional remedies will only be effective in the early stages of its development. In advanced cases, it is better to seek help from a specialist. This problem is mainly dealt with by gastroenterologists. So, special attention in the treatment of dysbacteriosis should be paid to following a proper diet. The diet should include wheat bran, whole grain bread, pearl barley, oatmeal and buckwheat porridge, mineral water, boiled lean meats, and fermented dairy products such as kefir, klabber, and whey. All the products I have listed not only help cleanse the intestines, but also contain a large amount of enzymes, vitamins, and microelements that are essential for the functioning and restoration of normal microflora. A big role is also played by the eating schedule. It is recommended to eat frequently in small portions, at least 4 to 5 times a day. The last meal should be at least 3 hours before bedtime. So, in my opinion, the best remedies for treating dysbacteriosis at home are Propolis, a beekeeping product whose tincture has anti-inflammatory, antibacterial, and detoxifying properties. A ready-made version of Propolis tincture on alcohol is sold in pharmacies, but I prefer to make it myself. For this purpose, I take 10 grams of Propolis and grind it in a coffee grinder. Then I pour a liter of boiled, slightly warm water over it and let it infuse until the propolis settles to the bottom and any impurities float to the surface. Next, I drain the water and add 100 milliliters of pure alcohol. Then I put it in a dark, warm place for a week, shaking it periodically. So, you need to add 30 drops of Propolis tincture to a glass of milk and drink it 30 minutes before dinner. If you are lactose intolerant, you can use warm drinking water. You need to take the tincture regularly for 2 months. Propolis is a natural antibiotic. By itself, it inhibits the spread and reproduction of pathogenic microflora. In addition, it has a pronounced antifungal effect. Kombucha is quite an effective remedy for dysbacteriosis. It contains a large amount of biologically active substances and has a pronounced bactericidal effect. Kombucha infusion actively fights putrefactive processes and pathogenic microflora in the intestines. It is recommended to take a glass of the infusion 3 times a day before meals for 1.5 to 2 months. I want to pay special attention to the seeds of the well-known fermented milk, which should be prepared at home for the purpose of combating dysbacteriosis. To do this, boil a liter of milk, cool it to room temperature, and add pieces of black stale bread. Let it infuse for a day, then add crusts of black bread, each of which should first be rubbed with garlic. This remedy works excellently against dysbacteriosis in its early stages. By the way, many of us often confuse dysbacteriosis with the problem of traveler's diarrhea, which is most often caused by various strains of E. coli found in local water, or simply an abundance of fiber from exotic fruits that we are not used to. In some cases, this problem is easily solved by taking loperamide. In more serious cases, it is necessary to resort to antibacterial and infusion therapy. An invaluable contribution to solving the problem of dysbacteriosis is made by herbal treatment. In this situation, 4 groups of different herbs are distinguished. The first group includes herbs with antimicrobial properties: coltsfoot, anise, eucalyptus, sage, chamomile, and St. John's wort. The second group consists of herbs with anti-inflammatory effects: calendula and agrimony. Laxative herbs include anise, dill, and mint, and there are herbs with enveloping effects. In other words, those that protect the mucous membranes. These are marshmallow root, flax, and elecampane. All these herbs are used in various combinations. From my point of view, the most effective treatment for dysbacteriosis is an herbal blend that includes 2 parts of chamomile, peppermint, and plantain, and 1 part each of St. John's wort and burdock. We mix all the ingredients of the blend and store them in a dry jar. So, we brew 1 tablespoon of the dry mixture with 2 glasses of boiling water. It's best to do this in a thermos, of course. We take 3.4 fluid ounces 3 times a day, 30 minutes before meals. Of course, if you're not prone to allergies when being treated with various herbs. By the way, recently in Japan, a premium class metabiotic called Daigolyuks was created, which, according to the manufacturers, effectively restores the normal intestinal microflora, boosts immunity, and corrects metabolism in our body. This medication, according to the manufacturers, has no side effects, rejuvenates the body, and prolongs an active life. Time will tell. This was Dr. Savkina with you. Subscribe to the channel so you don't miss many new, interesting, and useful videos. And stay healthy.